Hello and welcome to another review. This is a little bit more of my opinions, my thoughts alongside a review in a way. We were gifted and so gracefully gifted a key in order to do an actual review for this game. So thank you so much to Lurkit, who granted access to this key. It's massively appreciated. I wanted to give this game a good amount of time. We sunk around about 12-ish hours into the game itself. It is currently being labeled as game preview on Xbox itself. They do warn that the game's not 100% ready, so you may experience bugs, you may experience some crashes itself. I've watched a lot of this game being played on PC, watching a few friends play it. So I got very excited when it got brought over to Xbox because I wanted to sink my time into it as well. So Phasmophobia, as of this point onwards, so it's the 2nd of the 11th 2024, it's still in game preview. So I don't know at what point the state of the game is when you end up watching this recording or this review recording. So it might be fully launched, it might be fully fixed, it might be fully bug free. I don't know, but these are my thoughts and my opinions so far. We're going to go down the template just like we usually do with any new release that we work on to determine whether or not it is worth you investing your time and your money into this game. But please take into consideration that, again, the game is in preview mode at this current state, this current time. And these are just my thoughts and my opinion. That's all it is. So the very first thing that we'll look into, choice of music used, audio effects, voice acting. Ignore that. There is no music, no soundtrack. There's nothing to really zone into. It's not like a dramatic story game with loads of high tier, awesome, obnoxiously loud music. There's none of that. So I can't really talk about that. The effects within the game itself, they work absolutely fine. Didn't really have any issues with them, especially during the ghost hunts, the heartbeat noises, even the little scare jumps itself. They all worked absolutely fine. Can't really say anything about, more about that. In terms of graphics, the game on Xbox allowed us to focus either on balance mode or performance mode, and I love when a game gives me the ability to trigger it in performance mode, because I would rather have a higher frame per second with the graphics than super high quality and then experience loads of issues with frame dropping and screen tearing or anything like that. The tech behind the game is 4K Ultra HD with HDR10 and 60 FPS, so this game should look absolutely stunning on a 4K TV with all those additional goodies enabled. But again, we operated on the higher frames per second, and I didn't really notice any issues. There were a small amount of moments where we were going up certain stairs and we were turning the camera and it was a little bit slower than usual, but there was nothing that ruined the experience or ruined the game. The gameplay mechanics, it's a very unique game, especially if you're invested in games like Outlast, if you like playing hide and seek type horror games itself. The premise is you can either play it on your own if you wish to, but it's a lot harder to do so if you are playing on your own. You can play up to 4 friends, you and 3 others, and you can go into an abandoned or even a haunted building. It could be a small house, it could be a school, prison, and your mission is to gather as much evidence as you possibly can do on the ghost haunting, what ghost it is. You can use a vast variety of Ghostbuster type gadgets to pick up its sounds, to even take photography, and I absolutely love that aspect of this game. I truly do. The leveling up is, I would say it's fair, but if you die, you do lose a massive amount of your experience and even money as well. So you have to be very careful when you go into each haunting, because you again, if you keep dying, it's going to take a lot longer for you to level up, and your level determines what gadgets are unlocked that you can use in each hunt. And the higher level you are, obviously the bigger range that you've got, and even the bigger upgrades that you've got as well, making the hunts easier to do. So it is definitely a play to win type scenario. The more you play, the more time you sink into the experience, the more you can unlock, the better gadgets you have, yada yada yada. And you do have to be very, very careful on your hunts, because a lot of these ghosts are not friendly. They will throw items around the map. They will pretty much kill you. And I think this game is a balance of 50% comedy and humor alongside 50% horror, spook, hide and seek, because you can have a lot of fun with your friends during the game itself. And that's the one thing I like about the game. What I don't like about the game, we will go in a bit of depth, because again, I have notes and we're going to go through them itself. There's a lot of criticism that I have for this game in its current state, and I have talked to two very experienced Phasmophobia hunters, let's say, or players who have a mass amount of experience behind them and a massive amount of time behind them, and they've agreed on a lot of the things that we've raised, a lot of the issues that we've raised. Story, if applicable, it isn't. Scrub that, ignore that, can't really talk about it. Any game customization and stats building, it's not an RPG in any way, so we can't talk about that. The game customization, we can't really talk about that as well. You get to choose your avatar, and there is a small range of characters that you can play as. There's no way of creating your very own ghost hunter, and I think that would be actually a really, really cool idea if the game allowed us to create our very own character, because then you have a better connection to that character, and you know, it makes it more personal to you. There have been times where I've seen people all running around as the same person. Don't get me wrong, it's funny, but again, it definitely creates a gap between you and the emotion of the character that you're using. And you know, I prefer to create my own character because I like that bond between me and the character that I'm using. That's just me though. That is just me. Like I said, as you level up throughout the game, you unlock better upgrades for the equipment that you use and more equipment. So I guess that's a little bit of customizing options there. Each hunt will provide you with small objectives that you can also do. Sometimes you get given objectives that you can't complete because you don't have the items yet unlocked, and I think that is stupid. I don't think the game should ever give you any objective that you can't complete with the equipment that you've got on you. Now the friends that played with us who were a very high level than us did, you know, they wanted to bring in all the high tier equipment, but I didn't want that to happen because I didn't want to affect the review in that way. I didn't want to kind of cheat on my hunts by using super high tier equipment when we've only just started getting the basic stuff unlocked. So if that's how you play it, then that's completely up to you. That's all up to you. You play how you want. But it wasn't for me, and I really wanted to earn my upgrades. I wanted to earn my unlocks, but I was getting very, very, very frustrated and annoyed because I was dying so quickly, and so I felt like I was targeted a lot, even though I had friends running around making way more noise, causing way more problems. And because of it, they were leveling up faster than I was because they survived where I kept dying. Online co-op modes, features and stability. We had the game crash on us once. In terms of net play, we didn't have any issues with the net play, people being kicked out of the lobbies. So the lobby quality was absolutely fine. I have nothing negative to say about that whatsoever. So purchase price versus digital price value of content. The current game price is $16.74. So just under £17 for Phasmophobia, which I think is actually a very, very, very good pricing. Even though the game is in game preview at this current point, I don't know if they're going to keep it at that price when the game gets fully launched. They could increase it. I'm not 100% sure, but I am absolutely happy with that price point, with what you can do in the game. Do I feel the value of content matches the price? I do, and I have really enjoyed certain parts of this game. And I've also really enjoyed watching PC players play the PC version of this game as well, because you can again have a lot of laughs. But there are I was finding myself being more frustrated at times than having a laugh. The notes that I've got at the moment, the game is a 25GB game, not a massive game whatsoever. Kinetic Games are the publishers and the developers behind the game, if you're ever interested in knowing. Single player experience, but like I said, it is ridiculously hard, and if you die in your hunts, you lose a lot. So I again try to play with friends. In my opinion, that's the best way to get the best amount of fun out of it, unless you are a spooky horror game person who really loves the thrill of going on a hunt on your own. That's up to you though. The controls, we were playing on Xbox, playing on an Xbox controller. This is where a lot of my criticism comes into play. As soon as you start the game, you can go straight into single player. You can go straight online and play multiplayer, or do the tutorial, the training. I did the training because I wanted to learn about the game. I wanted to be good, and I found the training to be fucking annoying and just shit. It did teach me how to play the game, but the biggest problem that I had is the user interface is non-existent, and I feel that the majority of games should be accessible to all gamers, even people that have difficulty playing games, even people that have difficulty learning how to play games, and there is no HUD. When you go into the training mission, straight away you see a whiteboard and you see the control scheme around the whiteboard, what the buttons do, how they work, yada yada yada. And I think they should turn that into a screen HUD for the player. Something on the bottom left, something on the bottom right. And the reason for that is because even after 12 hours of playing this game, I was still constantly pushing the wrong fucking buttons to do certain things, and it got really, 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 really annoying. And Mag, who joined us in yesterday's stream for a couple of hours, who had put around 1,700 hours, agreed that the game is not friendly to new players whatsoever. It really isn't. It's extremely difficult, and there's no training wheels. There really isn't. You do a couple of missions in the training, and then boom, that's it. You can go off onto your own hunts, and you can die very fast. Even on the easiest, I wouldn't say easiest, I would say it was the amateur set difficulty, we were dying so freaking quickly. We did a back-to-back mission today alone. The first two missions, we died after 10 minutes in both those missions and wasted 20 minutes of our time and got nothing from it. Then we successfully managed to get a little bit of experience and then died in the fourth game straight away again. Now, I don't know if it's a bug within the game, but we were having hunts that when the hunt triggered and the ghost or the demon or whatever was out to kill us, we were dying instantly. And it's just, it's so annoying to put so much work into something and walk away with nothing. I can't stand shit like that. It irritates the crap out of me because I feel like I'm just wasting my bloody time. And I think the training needs to be done way better. Not only that, I think with all the new gadgets that are incorporated into the game, there needs to be training around that stuff too. Make the training fun, make it educational so the player learns and understands and remembers what to do. And please develop some form of a HUD that shows the items on us. It shows what button works for what, so we can see it all the time, so we don't accidentally push the wrong bloody buttons when we're trying to do something like turn on a fucking light switch or taking a photo with the camera, because I kept pushing the wrong bloody buttons over and over again. The voice interaction with the ghost didn't really work that well because the devices that we needed to use, the voice box, we had to do button prompts on the screen to communicate with the ghost. Now, PC players can walk around and pretty much just say, how old are you? Where are you? Etc, etc. And the ghost will actually respond to those voice comms. Xbox users can't really do that right now because they haven't enabled it. And it kind of sucks because I really wanted to test that out. And hopefully down the line in the next few weeks, months, or whatever, they can get that feature turned on so we can also experience it. Going through my notes. The accessibility options is probably my biggest pet peeve. I think this game needs to be redesigned slightly just to add some training wheels and to help teach new players how to hunt. Once they've done with the training, send them on actual missions, 1 or 2, maybe even 3 missions, even where they're on their own, where the game teaches the player what to do, how to do it, and it educates them on the hunt, because they'll carry that experience with them into other games and online, which will then help the overall hunt and help the overall experience instead of them getting frustrated all the time because they keep dying. 14 currently playable missions. The Halloween event is currently on, but we looked into the maps in the Halloween event, and I just didn't really want to spend my time doing the event. I wanted my time based on the base game, the port over on Xbox, and whether or not it was working well and if it was worth playing. But there were weekly challenges. We managed to unlock it was so goddamn weird. We loaded into a hunt and immediately had to back out, but we got the achievement for identifying the ghost as a spirit, even though we never did anything at all. And I was told it's because the game defaults it as a spirit, and if you just happen to get a spirit at that time, you just get the achievement for free. I think that's so dumb. The game should never pre-select or predetermine what the spirit is for the player. The players should be in full control of figuring out what the ghost is, and by giving it to them for free because of it defaulting, I think that's just a bit silly, in my opinion. Sorry, my handwriting's terrible when I'm rushing, and a lot of this was written when I was in a hunt. Not in a hunt, sorry, in a game. Mission should be based around the gear that you have. We've already talked about that. Oh, you get a camcorder, which is one of my favorite gadgets because I loved going around trying to find ghost orbs. Now, if you run around with the camera, it's a very tiny little LCD type screen on the side of it's like an old school camera that you can flip open the screen, and it's at the bottom right hand side where your hand is, and it's so fucking small, and yet the entire game is black as shit. It's so dark you can barely see unless you go around turning the lights on. But I like running around in the darkness because I want to find like the spirit orbs, and it adds more to the thrill of it. But you can't see shit. The screen is so small. I wish you could bring the camera up to your eye so it fills the entire screen, so you can actually walk around in night vision mode to explore properly. And I think that would be a lot more beneficial to the player because they're able to see a bigger area of the game, so they can detect those orbs and label that as evidence that they have found. But that's just my opinion. I don't know how much work would need to go into that to add that as a feature, but it would be nice if you could just hold a camera up with a button press so you can see through the LCD screen in night vision mode. I also feel that the flashlights should just be default gear, and I don't think they should count towards how many items that you can carry, because you can only carry 3 items at a time. And there are so many gadgets in this game, and I found a lot of the time we were wasting so much time going back and forth to the truck picking up 3 more, dropping them off by the front door so they're easier to get to and quicker to get to, because the beginning part is all timed. If you play on a easier difficulty, you get more preparation time before the hunt actually starts. It's 5 minutes. And then if you go into intermediate difficulty, it knocks a lot of that time away. So you've got less time trying to find where the ghost location is. And you do get some friendly Casper type ghosts to investigate at times. They play with the taps, they open up doors, they open drawers, they throw a shoe across the room, etc, etc. And I do enjoy those type of hunts a lot more, because you get more playtime in before things get serious and your sanity level goes down too low. And once your sanity level is at a dangerous critical rate, it's easy for the hunt to consume you and then kill you. So you do need to be quite careful. And again, if you're playing with a team, you can have a friend who's hiding in the back of the trailer, who can report back with the radio comms to say, hey, be careful, your sanity level's too low. But the trailer is a lovely concept. I love it. The big TVs that showcase the map, that showcase the player's sanity levels, also the computer that you get to flick through with the multiple screen. I absolutely fucking love that shit. That's so cool. But it isn't fully utilized if everyone is running around. I mean, you got some massive maps in this game, and you need as many people as possible to run around in either the prison or even the abandoned school to try and gather as much evidence as quickly as you can. And if you're up against a very tough ghost, and yet someone stays in the trailer to either waste time or look at all the big TVs or all with everything that's going on, it could impact the mission quite severely. Especially if you're trying to level up like I am. Having to look away from the monitor. Yeah, when you're looking at the screen, again, they could just utilize the controllers better on this. When you're looking at the screen and you're flicking through the cameras, you have to look at the mouse to flick through, and you have to look at the keyboard to turn on night vision. You're always moving around. If you want to look at the screen, just focus the screen, big screen, as in full screen, and then use the D-pad on the controller to skip through to the cameras or to turn on certain features, instead of having the player to bob their head around just to do certain things. It's really fucking annoying, because you don't do that in real life, do you? You got your left hand on the keyboard, your right hand on your mouse, and you're looking at the screen, and you don't do this shit. And I guess I'm just nitpicking at that point, but it was just really annoying. We found out the draw distance was around about 5 meters. When we were in the kitchen, we were 5 meters away from the back wall where the kitchen cabinets were, and we could see the textures loading in properly within 5 meters. That's such a small draw distance. And I was very surprised at why that's even a fucking thing still in games, and it's really annoying. There shouldn't be draw distances like that in games like this. The map should be fully loaded with all the details, so you can see things properly and not see things loading in. It's so I don't get it, but that's again just me. I think what my biggest problem is with this game is just the fact that it just doesn't hold your hand in any way, shape or form, and it will easily scare away new players to this game. I get the game's been out for PC for a while, and I completely respect that, but there are a lot of gamers out there that would love to experience this game, and without the training wheels, they're going to find it too difficult, and it will just push them away. But not only that, just the accessibility options in this game are non-existent, and you don't want to scare away potential fans of this game, because you've made the game so hard to learn and master and play, and you're not aiding the player with certain things like a HUD with icons and buttons, so you always know what to press, so you don't make any mistakes. I mean, for fuck's sake, even the LB and RB on the controller were to activate local chat or radio chat, but if you've got the book up and you're going through pages, you're triggering the fucking microphone on and off, on and off, on and off as well, and it's just so badly done. So with that in mind, would I recommend jumping on this and playing this? And would I recommend, you know, what would I grant it if I was to give it a scoring out of 10? Would I recommend jumping on this game if you're a solo player? In my honest opinion, in the state that it's in, not right now. If you could jump in and play with friends, yes, because that's where the biggest fun factor lies, in my opinion. I just think a lot needs doing to make this game more accessible to others or to all. I don't know. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate and a lot of stick from this, especially from the hardcore fans of Phasmophobia, who have already put hundreds and thousands of hours of time into it. But I'm not thinking about those players. I'm thinking about the new players, the players that are going to get introduced to this game on consoles for the very first time, who are going to enter a shitty training level, which only teaches you the very basics of the basics, with only the basics of gadgets, doesn't teach you about anything else, doesn't teach you how to do actual missions on your own. There's no guide at that point. And with no HUD on the screen whatsoever, I think you're making it exceptionally difficult for players to remember what buttons to press, where to go, what to do, how to do it. And I think you should look into that. And a HUD would solve a lot of your problems. Even if you put something at the bottom left and even the bottom right of your screen. Just again, the whiteboard with all the button prompts and all that shit and the color coding, that you're already halfway there. Just take those ideas away from that board, make them into a nice HUD on the bottom left and right with the icons of what items the character have got, like the flashlight, the camera, the green dots, the UV, the voice box and all that lot. Put them in there too, and I think you're on the way of potentially making an amazing Ghostbuster hunting experience horror ghost game. I'm sorry, it's 1 in the morning and I'm starting to slur my words. But that's my thoughts. That's my opinion. What would I rate it out of 10 right now in its current state? Yes, I did have a small amount of fun, but I was just getting massively frustrated with the amount of time I was losing because of the hunts insta-killing me all the time, even though I had no hardcore evidence to know what the ghost was, and it was just ruining the experience a lot. It has potential. The game has massive potential, but in the state that it's in, with the work that needs doing, I wouldn't be happy going above a 6 at the moment. Above average right now, and I just think it needs a lot of work for console players, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts down below. Please do. I'll always respond. Give the video a like if you haven't done so already. Sub to the channel as well. It really helps out. And I will see you guys in the next review. Bye-bye.